we are preventing them even from diarrhea, you know. And when you're talking about uh, it being really ideal for children, we're also protecting them from gaining too much weight, which can actually cause later on for them to be overweight or even obese, and preventing them from getting other diseases such as pardon me, from getting other diseases such as, or predisposing them to certain diseases later on, such as the non-communicable diseases such as diabetes, heart diseases. So the benefits go on and go on and go on. When you're talking about the mother, because it's not only benefiting this child, it's also benefiting so many people, including the mother. This mother, it will help her even in prevention of certain cancers such as ovarian cancer, breast cancer. It's really the whole package, so to say. Yes.
Yeah,
uh,
I had you mentioning preventing overweight or gaining weight, a lot of weight. But you find
mhm.
that some mothers, after the third month of life, the baby has just become so chubby and so plumpy. Will that mother stop breastfeeding because they want to
No.
prevent diabetes?
No, 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 no. They'll not stop breastfeeding. That is actually, a breastfed baby just looks very healthy and very, yeah, well, like you're saying, very chubby and looking very healthy. So that gaining of weight will be in the right parameters. It's not like if you start introducing other foods or other things in the instead of breast milk. That weight gain is actually the right or the recommended weight gain. Not unless there are other underlying issues, that weight gain will be just adequate for this child. Yes.
So the mom should not stop breastfeeding or control the demand for the baby.
No, 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 they should not. They should continue to breastfeed.
If mom finds that the baby is sleeping too much and does not have like frequent demand for breast milk, how should she handle the baby? Because some mom just say my baby just loves to sleep and it gives me time to do my other work, and I don't have
Yes.
to keep on waking her up because she'll be so fussy. What is your advice for moms?
So we do not really talk about how many times this child should really, really feed, in as much as we say at least 8 times. But we do not say that if it's at least 8 times, that now we will count 1, 2, 3. Now it's 8 times. It's enough time for you to stop. Now you should not breastfeed anymore. No. However, it is important for you to actually check. Because it will guide you to see whether you are breastfeeding your child enough times. Yeah, we recommend to breastfeed on demand, but like you've asked, what if this child is sleeping for a very long period of time? Then what we will do, we try and wake this child up. And it's not, I would say it's not very fun for a mother because it involves tapping the sole of the feet of the child to try and wake the baby up. Yeah. And don't dress the baby too much so that they're not too warm, because once you feel all warm and cushy, you'll just feel like you want to sleep. Yeah. So you wake the baby up if you realize that they are sleeping for a little too long, because they were used to just being in a very comfortable place. Yeah, they were not they were not used to being disturbed. They were not used to this world. They were used to being in a very nice place where food was just coming to them, all the nutrients. Yeah, so you wake them up, and then you breastfeed this child, because they require there's nothing else that we recommend to give to this child until at least they get to the age of 6 months. So you want this child to actually get as much nutrients. That is the only food that they're getting. We're not giving them anything including water. So everything that they require is right there in the breast milk. So if we do not give them that, then you'll find that this child is not getting adequate feeds. In turn, they're not getting adequate nutrients. In turn, we are not growing, we are not developing in the right way. So if we inform mothers on this, because it's a nice time, you will actually sleep or do your chores. But in the end, then you'll have a child who is not growing or developing in the way that is recommended. So wake the child up slowly, gently, but wake them up, let them feed, let them breastfeed, and then let them go back to continue napping.
And now, when you have the vice versa kind of kid that they cannot just sleep, just wants to spend the whole time on breast, how can you handle this child?
Yes, breastfeeding is interesting because those can be two situations. A mother can actually experience those two situations with two different children. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you have a child who always wants to be on the breast, um, there could be a number of things, yeah. And one of the things that you could actually find is maybe they're not able to get as much breast milk from the breast during the feed. So we can check on a number of things, such as how are we holding this child, how are we putting the child on the breast, so that if we are holding this child in the right way and this child is on the breast in the right way, they'll get adequate breast milk. Yeah. So there are a number of things we can actually look at. It could be that they're having some discomfort, and when they're with mommy, they're feeling all the comfort. So they're looking for that comfort and they want to just be there with mommy. Yeah. So there could be a number of things in play. And it's not that it's bad for them to actually want to breastfeed. However, we could look at, could there be something else that is, making them to always want to be on the breast? Yeah, because it could be they have a discomfort and they just want to be there. Because if we look at when children are unwell, they don't want anything else. They just want to be there with their mommy and breastfeed,
Yeah.
which is a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's it's always good to check if we are, because if a child is getting adequate breast milk from, if during a breastfeed, which will take probably, depending, yeah, but it will take maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour sometimes, they will get adequate milk and they will release the breast. And they'll now want to either have some time to play a bit if they've gotten to the age where they are, playing a bit. Some will want to just sleep, depending. Some will just want to be held. So if they're getting the adequate breast milk during a breastfeed, then they'll release the breast by themselves and they'll do something else. So if that happens, it would also be important to consult maybe a nutritionist, and then we can actually assess and see if maybe there is something that is happening during the breastfeed, and we can advise accordingly.
Thank you very much for that information. Some mothers are finding it difficult because if you have two mothers who are neighbors and they have the extremes, the one who sleeps a lot and the one who doesn't want to sleep, not the
Yeah,
lady in between. Okay.
true.
At what time should we initiate this breastfeeding?
We should initiate breastfeeding within the first 1 hour of birth. Within, as soon as the baby is out, we should just start breastfeeding. And actually, it's a very interesting let me say interesting approach, because you normally find that this child will actually take the initiative to move towards the breast and start breastfeeding.
Or put the thumb in the mouth,
Sorry.
especially, or put the thumb in the mouth, especially for the
Yes.
siesta Others who her mom is too drowsy and still cannot hold the baby. Sometimes the baby just feeds himself via the fingers.
True.
Okay. So another question is um, how will we know that our baby is getting enough breast milk?
That's a very nice question. Because uh, the first thing that mothers actually tell me when they come to sometimes to see me, they'll tell me that um, my baby was crying, or my baby cries too much. So I realized, or I decided, that it's because they're not getting adequate breast milk. Uh, However, I will say it's a yes and no, because crying is the last thing that a child will do. The first thing they'll show you so many other things, that I want to breastfeed, and then they'll realize you didn't get that I want to breastfeed. So the last thing they'll do, they'll get frustrated, and then they'll cry. So when it comes to knowing maybe I can start with, how is it that mothers can know that a baby wants to breastfeed? Yeah.
Okay.
They will start with some certain signs, like the suckling of the thumb. They'll try to you know suck like their tongue, or stick their tongue out. They'll turn their head as they're looking for the breast. So maybe if there's a piece of clothing that is here, they'll try to reach it and try to see whether it's the breast, and breastfeed. So that is what will tell a mother that this child actually wants to breastfeed. So the last thing they'll do, they'll see there's no breast coming. I don't see any signs. So they'll cry, so that the mother can come and pick them and maybe breastfeed them. So once you start breastfeeding, then it's important for a mother to know, my child has gotten adequate breast milk. So how will they know this? They will, during the day to day, you can check with, your breast before a breastfeed is normally very full of breast milk. However, by the time you're done with a breastfeed, you'll actually feel that it is much, much lighter. It's not as heavy as it was when you started. Even probably when you try and press, there'll probably be just a few drops coming out. It's not like before you started the feed, where if you would press the breast, probably the milk would be spurting out. Secondly, the child will, by the end of the feed, you'll actually find that the child is calmer. They're not as the way they were. There's normally like they really are hungry, so they want the breast milk, so they're breastfeeding a little bit aggressively. But once they're full, you'll actually start to see that they'll actually release the breast, and start doing other things. Like I was saying, they'll start playing, doing other things, because now they are full. If you observe even the tummy of the child, you'll actually note before the breastfeed, it was probably, a little inside, but once you're done, it's a bit fuller. Yeah.
Well, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. During also the day to day, there is the diaper changes that we do. So you'll realize that for you to know that a child is breastfeeding adequately, you'll realize that if it's the changes that you're doing, there are about 6 to 8 diaper changes in a day, and at least 2 or 3 of them are actually stool or poop. That is one way of actually knowing my child is breastfeeding adequately. Something else that will also help you to know that the child is getting adequate breast milk would be, even when you go now to the clinic, your child will be gaining adequate weight, yeah, which is around at least half a kilo every single month, thereabout. So if they're gaining weight, well, then it shows. But you know, for the day to day, because we can't just wait until a month is over so that you can go
Yeah.
to the clinic, you can be checking
Yeah.
on a day to day. And also, maybe to comment on the diaper changes, you'll find that the urine is a little clear, it's not very concentrated, yeah. So it will
Mhm.
not be dark colored, it's, you know, it's lighter. So that's how you'll know
Mhm.
that this child is actually feeding adequately and we are going on well.
Well, there's just a question that somebody just asked this evening, and it was like, what color do you expect for the first breast milk? Like somebody just complained, I just see like clear water, or I just see something that she doesn't understand. What is a
Yeah.
normal first breast milk color?
Yeah, so it will be the clear water, it will be yellowish, whitish in color. That is normal breast milk, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So another question is, for how long? I know you've mentioned it before, but just to be clear, for how long should a baby be on the breast, or a normal feeding time?
Okay. So to ensure that we are getting adequate breast milk, like we've really talked about, we need to have, we cannot really put it, it cannot really be set on stone, but at least 30 minutes or more. The reason being, we want this child to get uh, the foremilk, the first part of the milk, and also the hind milk. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Because if they're only getting just the foremilk, then we are not getting all the nutrients that will be in the hind milk, which will be important for this child to actually gain weight and grow adequately. Yeah? So it's important we sometimes mothers are not able to time themselves because I've asked that question to many mothers, like, how long do you breastfeed? And you'll when you're looking at that mother, you'll actually tell they've never really checked.
Yeah, they normally just say after a short while, like in
Yeah.
Kiswahili, nakaa tu kidogo. Like
Yes,
just a short while, but how short is what they can't quantify. How short is short?
very true.
Like,
For yes.
do you believe that a small-bodied mom should produce lesser milk than a big-bodied mom?
No, 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 no. That's a common thing actually that people believe or tend
Mhm,
to think. Yeah.
mhm,
However, body size, even when it comes to breast size, many people think that if you have smaller breasts or bigger breasts, that is when you'll have more milk. It is not the case. When it comes to milk production, there are so many other factors that are in play. One of them being, how is your diet? Are we eating adequately? Because that will
mhm,
influence how much breast milk you will make. Um,
mhm,
the other thing will be, are you resting well? Because in as much as there's a newborn who has come into this world,
mhm,
life goes on. So the daily activities, they're still there. If you have an older child who you need to prepare to go to school, if you have, certain chores in the house, they're still there. So are you
yeah.
resting enough? Are you getting support with, some of those chores? Um, are you hydrating enough? That's another very key thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Does it have to be like milk tea? You have to
Sorry?
drink milk tea to get milk.
No, 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 no. The fluids that are available. Do you have fresh fruits? You can make some fresh fruit juice. Do you have some flour which you can use to make some porridge? You can make some porridge. If you have some bones where you can make some bone soup, then you make some bone soup. All those fluids. And the most important one and the most forgotten one by many mothers is water.
Yeah. They feel that water has no nutrients. So
Yes.
there's a mom who told me that water will make her milk dilute, so
Oh
the baby
no.
will not be so chubby. So what about these mothers who experience no breast milk letdown for like 1 or 2 days? What would you advise them to do? 1 or 2 days
That's a
after
great question.
after giving birth?
Mm. So, like I said, when it comes to milk production, there are a number of factors in play. So we will assess this mother to, to find out what is really causing this low milk letdown, because one of the things would be probably even after they delivered the child, they haven't taken adequate nutrients, or adequate, they haven't eaten adequately, yeah, or even prior to delivery, they were not able to eat adequately due to the pain, how it
Mhm.
happens during delivery. So we
Yeah.
will check that, yeah. We will check
Yeah.
whether we are able to, we've been hydrating. And majority of the times you'll find that once we've checked the diet, we've given her something to eat, we've given her a few things to drink, you find that the milk, there's milk let down. Another thing we can do is actually place the child, skin to skin with this mother, and this will help even in the production and the letdown of breast milk. Yeah.
Mhm.
And also encourage this mother to keep putting the baby on the breast, because actually breastfeeding is like it's more of like a demand, supply, demand and supply cycle. Yeah. So you'll find that when there is demand, the supply will just come.
But you see, some mothers just say that the first 1 month I
The
had a
first.
lot of milk. The first 1 month I had a lot of milk, but
Mm-hmm.
now the third month, the second, third month, now my milk is not enough for my baby. What does it
Mm,
mean? What did this mother do that made the third month be different from the first month? And
that's
what
a good
can a
question.
new mom do to
Mm-hmm.
maintain the enough milk throughout from the first month to the sixth month?
That's a very good question. You see, sometimes, and I will say this generally, it's not like a one shoe fits all, but sometimes you will note that during the first month, mothers sometimes have a lot of support. There are people who are coming to help her because there's a new baby, so they're there, they're helping her with chores, they're helping her, to run around to the shop. They're even bringing food to her, so she's not worried or stressed about so many, the daily things that happen, yeah.
Yeah.
However, as the baby is growing older, majority of the times you'll find there's not that much support, because now the baby is older, so majority of the people will think she doesn't need that much support. However, a mother requires as much support as she can get. There's never too much support. Never.
Mhm.
Wherever you can support her, just support, because um, uh, the hormones that are involved in milk letdown and milk production, they are feel good hormones. They do not work very well when there is, stress and worry. Yeah, they do not work very well when there is all that. Yeah. So
Mhm.
if we are able to support this breastfeeding mom, that
Mhm.
is that would be very key. So if in the second month, the third month, there's that worry and that stress, then that would be a challenge. Also, sometimes that is the time majority of the people are planning to go back to work if probably they were on leave.
Okay.
Yes. So it could even be associated with that, because we are actually looking at um this mother is now, there's a stressor. So, quote unquote, I'm not saying work is stressful, but there is that shift, because now you're starting to wonder, I will be leaving my child at home, but they're still on exclusive breastfeeding where we are saying we're not giving this child anything else. So now you're
Mhm.
starting to wonder, what will they be feeding on? How will I leave them now? You know?
Mhm.
So there are a number of factors that could be in play, and if we are able to support these mothers, it would be whichever role we can do, we can actually
Yeah.
support them. Mm.
Another point is whenever we have like a lot of milk, mothers should just practice to express. The more you
Yeah,
express
then it can.
and your breast becomes empty, then there's enough milk for each and every day, even if it is the first month or the third month. Just make sure that your breast is always empty at every 2 hours so that the letdown can flow. Because we find out that the first month the baby's stomach is not so big, so they take smaller volumes and they leave you with a lot of milk there. But as the baby grows, the stomach grows, and now they need the demand is now so high.
Yeah,
So even the first month, if you can express and store in the freezer for
true,
future use.
true, true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So our next question is, how do we express this milk and store and reheat now about that? If we have
A very, very important question and a very important skill for very many of us to have is expressing,
Mhm.
storing, and learning how to warm breast milk. Because,
But
like,
excuse me, before you answer that, I think we should first tackle how to hold the breast.
okay,
Which one do you prefer first? Do you want to tackle how we should hold the breast to ensure good attachment, or how we should express? You can answer either one or
okay,
the other. Mhm.
okay. I can even start with how to hold the breast so that um, we can go now to how we will express breast milk. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, and I feel that actually having a visual of it will really help.
It's okay.
Yes. So let me share my screen. Mm, there. So when it comes to how we hold the breast, your hand should be in a C shape. Yeah, as we can see here, the mother holding the breast. Yeah. So majority of the times you find that mothers hold it in like a scissors position. It's like they're scissoring the breast. So it should be C. So
We're,
you're
we're,
supporting the breast.
we're not seeing your picture, or are you
You're
sharing
not.
a screen?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I'm not the one. I'm not able to see it. I don't know if anybody else can see it.
Let me try again because I've stopped sharing. Let me try. What of now?
Mm, no,
Can you see it now?
no. But just
No.
explain it. I can't see it. I don't know if other people can see it, but I can't.
Okay. Um, so I'll explain. So your hand should be in C position. So you'll bring your hand to the breast. So the four fingers will be holding the lower part of the breast, and then the thumb will be on the upper part of the breast. Okay, like the lady in the picture. I hope it's sharing. Yeah, like yeah, like the lady in the picture is doing. So you're
Mhm.
simply just supporting the breast, not pressing anywhere. You're just simply supporting the breast. Then using the other hand, the child is, in line with on the other hand, fully supported. And then you bring the child to the breast. Yeah. So it's a C shape. Once you do your hand in C shape, you'll be able to hold the breast nicely. So it's simply support the breast. Then the thumb is at the upper part of the breast. Yeah. Then the child, you just support them nicely and bring them close to you. So you're not the one who is going close to the baby, because sometimes I find mothers going, close to the baby, which shouldn't be the
Uh-huh.
case, because your back will start to ache because of the constant, bending. We have talked about breastfeed taking, you know, 30, 45 minutes. So if you're bending
Yeah.
or you're not sitting properly in for 30, 45 minutes, then it might be very strenuous for your back. And then the next thing, you'll start having back pain. And so I've seen people saying they can't see the screen. I
Mm.
don't know how that has happened, but I hope I have explained nicely. I hope that it's clear. It's a C. Then that is how you support the breast. So the four fingers are supporting the lower part of the breast. Then the thumb is supporting the upper part of the breast. Then now you bring your child. Once you've held the child in line, yeah, you're bringing them close to the breast. You're not the one approaching the baby with your breast. You're bringing the child closer to you and towards the breast. Then now you start breastfeeding. Yeah.
Let me see if I can find the picture.
Okay.
Can we see?
Are you sharing?
Yes. Can you see?
No, I can't. I don't know how that has happened.
Sawa sawa. Okay, we can continue. So after holding the breast, now we go to expressing.
Yeah. So expressing breast milk. And I also had like a nice photo for that. So the audience will miss out on that. Because visuals, I normally find that visuals are normally very important when it comes to, remembering things. Um, However, I can still explain, yeah. When
Oh,
it comes to expressing breast milk, uh, before I even delve into how we do it, we cannot leave out hygiene practices, because if we are not expressing breast milk, it means the chances of, having contamination of this breast milk are almost none. However, now that we are expressing the breast milk, we're having, to store it, we will warm it and feed the baby. There are so many instances where we can actually get some contamination into this breast milk. So it is important for us to actually emphasize on hygiene. So, washing your hands with running water and soap is very, very key. And sterilizing or washing nicely the equipment that you will use, whether you use your hand because there's the hand expressing, whether you use a pump, because sometimes people prefer using a pump, where you will store this milk. All those things should be very, very well cleaned and very well sterilized. Then now when we go into how to do it, it's important for the mother to actually be seated comfortably, so somewhere comfortable. They can have something warm that they are taking during this time when they're expressing breast milk. And also, if they're at home or somewhere near the baby, they can have the baby nearby, because we said that the hormones that are, that are playing the role of, bringing the milk, yeah, producing the milk, are the feel good hormones. So when they start feeling good when they see that child, the milk will just be produced. Um, if it's somewhere where they're away from the child, they can have probably a photo of the child so that they start, feeling good about expressing breast milk. So once all that is in play, then now it depends on the equipment that you're using. Maybe you're using hand express. So I will still try and share my screen. I'll not give up. Because if it's possible for me to share, then it will be easier um, for the explanation bit. Yeah?
Mm.
Is it? Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Mm.
I don't know why it has refused to share. And on my end, it's showing that it's sharing screen. So how you hold the breast? The C shape still will apply if you're doing hand expressing. Yeah. So it will be on the black part or the black area of the breast. That is where you will place your hand. So it's either will I say horizontally, or now you can even do it vertically. Yeah, such that the finger, the index finger and the thumb are the ones that are on the black area of the breast. So those are
Mm.
the two that you are pressing and releasing. You press and release. But this mother should be seated in a comfortable place, yeah, because it will take almost the same time that, depending on the what you're using to express. If you're doing hand express, it might take a longer period of time. If you're doing the manual expressing using a pump, if you're doing the electric, it will depend on a number of factors. But it will also take some period of time, 20-30 minutes, depending, and whether you're expressing one breast or both breasts. Yeah. So it's important for the mother to be comfortable. So you just press and release. Which majority of the times you find that some mothers will be doing it. It's like the thumb rolls all the way from the top of the breast all the way to down, which might cause a lot of friction on the breast, and it might be very painful for these mothers. So it's important for us to actually teach breastfeeding parents on how to express breast milk. If we are doing a manual pump, there's normally a handle where now you press and release, press and release, and the top part normally looks like it's like a baby's mouth, so it just latches nicely on the breast, and then once you press and release, milk is ejected into the collecting container. So if it's an electric breast milk, so
Ah.
once you connect it to the power source, depending on whether it's a single or a double pump, you put it on the breast or both breasts, and then now it just pumps the milk out. So when it comes to expressing, depending on how you're doing it, you might require equipment or no, or you might not require. However, when it comes to storing, you will require clean containers, which will be specifically for this child, and they should be containers which you can close because you don't want any contamination coming in later on. So
Yeah.
you'll close it nicely and then store it away. So that the storage will be dependent on a number of factors. If you do not have a fridge, you can actually store it in just a cool area in the room, which is away from direct sunlight. So like a cupboard somewhere cool on the in the room, yeah. And this milk will be okay for use for even up to 8 hours. So if you use it within the 8 hours, that milk is good for use. For someone who has a fridge, they can actually store it in just a normal refrigerator for 5 to 7 days. If you have a deep freezer, it's 3 to even 6 months. So you can have stored milk. However, when we are storing, it's important for me to also note that it's important to label this milk. So you label the date that you've expressed the milk, and you label the time, such that when you're taking it out, because sometimes, like you had mentioned earlier, there are sometimes the mothers have a lot of breast milk, so you're just pumping and storing. So it's
Mm.
important to know which one you expressed early so that it will be the first to be used. Don't use the milk that you've just expressed right now. Yet there is milk that you expressed maybe 2 3 days ago. So the labeling part is very very important. Label the date and the time, then use the one that you expressed earlier first before you get to the one that you've expressed just recently.
How have you tackled how we reheat when you want to give the baby?
That is very good. When it comes to reheating this breast milk, we will not require sufurias. Well, you might require one just to heat the water. So once you've done, you'll just heat some water. Then using the container that you use to store the breast milk, you will dip the the container in a water bath, the warm water bath. Yeah, so you'll just dip it in. So this milk will not get into contact with a sufuria or a cooking pan. So it's
Mm.
just have hot water, dip the milk inside. If it was milk that you had put in a freezer, then now that one you will have to thaw fast, and then heat using now that technique where you have hot water in a bowl, and then you dip the container inside. Then using the back of your hand, you can actually check to tell whether this milk is in the right temperature for the baby to take.
And if you expressed like 200 mLs and you want to reheat, will you reheat the whole 200? And if the baby doesn't take, you put back to the fridge and then you reheat. How do you go about it if you expressed a lot of milk?
That's a very good question. When we are doing the expressing of breast milk, we do not recommend for you to heat all the milk, because sometimes you might have stored a lot of milk, like you're saying, maybe you've expressed the whole 200 mls and maybe your baby is just finishing like 60 mls of this milk. So when mothers are expressing breast milk, we normally advise, because the amount that this child can finish really depends on a number of factors, such as how what is the age of this child at this point in time. So we know how to actually recommend like how much of this breast milk can this child finish in one feed. So if they're only able to finish, like for instance, 60 mls or 90 mls in one feed, then we will advise that you just take the portion that this baby requires. If it's the 90 mls, hit that 90 mls, and the remaining amount you return to the fridge. And if for the next feed, when they'll require to actually take the milk, that's when you'll take it out, measure the amount that they'll require, and heat just that amount. So don't heat all of it, just the small amount that they require to feed, and then the rest you put in the fridge.
Well, that's a good info. That is a good information. But
Yeah.
is there a situation where a baby prefers one breast to another? Mtoto wangu hapendangi matiti ya left.
Yes, it can happen, but we do not encourage that, because in as much as the baby will prefer one breast to the other, we encourage mothers to breastfeed on both breasts. And that can happen due to many things. So we still encourage the mother put the baby even on this other breast where the child does not really like or does not prefer. Because sometimes you'll find that even the amount of breast milk that each breast is producing is not necessarily the same. You might find that one breast is producing more breast milk than the other. So
Mm,
sometimes maybe when the child is breastfeeding on this breast, it has so much breast milk that the child feel like it's too much for them, yeah. So they don't
yeah,
want that breast. And also there it could be now the vice versa. They're trying
mm,
to they're trying to suckle on the breast, they're trying, and very little is coming out, so they don't want that breast. So it could be one or the other thing, yeah. But the more
mm,
you keep putting the baby on that breast, for instance, if it was not producing as much breast milk, you'll find that it's now producing more breast milk. Like we said, it's demand, supply. Also, if maybe the breast has so much breast milk, you can even express a little bit. And then by the time the baby comes on the breast, it's not too much that the baby feels like they are choking, you know. So
mhm.
there's always a way around it, but we can't say, let's give this baby the right breast and leave out the other breast. They require to suckle on both of them. So it's slowly, it's calm, it's gentle, it's loving, but we just do both breasts.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, one of the questions that I've been waiting for, the challenges. Now that we are talking about breastfeeding, it's not like a smooth and way. The Milima Namabonde about breastfeeding, can you talk about it?
Milima na mabonde iko.
Yes.
Iko. Um, like when it comes to breastfeeding, it's not easy, but it's very much doable, yeah. Because if we offer support at all levels, across all levels, then this is something that is very much doable and very much sustainable. When you're talking of the challenges that mothers can face, some of them can even come as a result of maybe they do not have the adequate skills. Like when it comes to what I was talking about, how you position this baby, how you are holding the baby, and how the baby is coming to the breast or holding the breast. So if if the mother doesn't know how to do it, you'll find probably the child has refused to breastfeed. And you
Mhm.
have a lot of breast milk. You've eaten adequately. You have,
Mhm.
drank
You're
enough water.
prepared
You're well
enough.
hydrated. Then there is the baby. Amesema no. Na analia kabisa. So
Mm, mhm,
if that is one of the challenge that can come about. And to talk about this and show how grave it can be, you might find
mhm,
that even with this poor, the way they're holding the baby and the way the baby is holding the breast, if we find that the mother doesn't know how to do it, it can even bring about things like a cracked nipple or a sore nipple, which is
mhm.
very painful.
That thing is painful, my friend.
Extremely painful.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is a big challenge because now the mother will associate breastfeeding with pain. And
Yeah.
nobody wants to actually feel pain every feed. And we have said we are breastfeeding these babies on demand.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a big challenge.
Mhm,
But if we teach these mothers on how to hold this baby nicely, how to bring them to the breast, so the baby will latch nicely on the breast, and we will not have such challenges for the mothers. We will not have the babies refusing to breastfeed. Yeah.
mhm. Yeah.
Yes. So another challenge would be, things like going back to work. Like I said, life continues. Even after this precious gift comes to the world, life
Yeah.
continues. So,
Mhm.
depending on the work policy, majority of the people, it's about 3 months, you're back to work. Some a little less, some a little more, maybe even 6 months. But breastfeeding will continue for a long period of time, not just the 6 months. So, how will we continue breastfeeding this child? So, that's a big challenge for mothers. And they'll be wondering, how do I continue breastfeeding my child now that the nutritionist has advised me and I've seen all the benefits, because during these 3 4 months my baby has not been getting unwell, my baby has been growing in a very good way. How do I continue with this breastfeeding so that my child can continue growing in a healthy way? So it's a big challenge when it comes to when mothers are going back to work. However, it's important for us to note that uh, we have talked about the skill of expressing breast milk. So if mothers are equipped with that, that one will be very key for them. They'll be able to prepare. Probably they know that in 2 months, in 3 months, I'm going back to work. So they'll start expressing and storing breast milk, which they'll build up a stash. By the time they are going back, they are not worried that what will my child be feeding when I'm away from home. Also, when it comes to like the employment, the area of work, yeah, there is uh, there is the act that guides us on employers providing a lactation space for breastfeeding mothers. So in Kenya, I think we have tried. We have a number of companies, a number of areas who have actually established breastfeeding or lactation areas, lactation rooms, which lactation spaces for their workers, which is very, 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 very good. Yeah, because it will either enable this mother to express breast milk or actually have their child come in and have a breastfeeding session. Also, when it comes to the work area, there is the provision of at least having an extra around at least 60 minutes on top of the normal breaks that are there. So if there's a tea break and a lunch break on top of that, the provision of flexible working hours and also an additional at least 60 minutes, which will allow this mother to either go home and breastfeed if they do not live very far away, or go express, uh, express and store the milk if there's a place where they can actually express the milk and store. So that is very, very, that can come in very handy in terms of supporting our breastfeeding mothers. And that will no longer be a very big challenge for our mothers. Yeah.
Well, those are very good policies. I would really wish if every employer could provide that kind of environment, but we are a developing country. So in the near future, because
Yes.
even right now, I can imagine if I want to leave my breast milk in a fridge that I don't understand how who is getting in and out, and
Mhm.
Africans are Africans, but to provide that kind of environment to make the mothers feel safe,
Yeah.
and also make the children grow for us. And
Mm.
maybe we can even get a room so that they can bring their house helps and stay with the kids when it is time to breastfeed. They just come breastfeed and then go back.
Yes, yes. Which would actually, it's very beneficial even when it comes for the employers, because one thing you'll note is that these mothers will not be asking for, sick off when the child is unwell. If you look at it in the bigger picture, yeah, this this
Mm.
this child will grow in a very good way, yeah? In that they're
Mhm.
not getting the frequent illnesses, they're not getting frequent admissions. So this mother will be able to just be comfortable and working. And not only just this mother, if a child is sick, hey, there are so many people who will come to visit this child. We will talk
Yeah.
about the mother, the father, that is just the immediate family. We will talk
Mhm.
about, the grandparents who will want to come and see this child. So there'll be so many people missing work
Yeah.
to come and see
Mm.
this child. Eh? So when
Yeah.
we look at it, let us invest in lactation rooms.
Mhm.
That would be very key in terms of ensuring or sustaining or supporting our breastfeeding mothers. And even
Mhm.
overall, it's a good investment if we look at it. These children are growing into, they're the ones who will be in school, and they're the ones who will be performing very well. They're the ones who will be employed, and or even start their own businesses, be very innovative. So let's invest in breastfeeding and sustaining breastfeeding.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah. I was imagining maybe there are some people who want to ask you something
Mm-hmm.
over the chat box, but I can't see any questions over the chat box.
Okay.
I think we've learned quite a lot today, and maybe I can say our summary is breastfeeding has more benefits than what? Opposite of benefits is than disadvantages.
Yeah. It has a lot of
Maybe
benefits.
yeah, maybe just a last but not least question is breast milk for a mom who has a preterm the same as the mom who has a fully grown baby, a term baby?
I didn't get the question very well. Sorry.
Somebody was asking,
Yes.
is the breast milk for a mother who has a preterm baby, premature baby, the
Mm-hmm.
same as the breast milk for a mother who has a term baby, a baby who has reached 40 weeks?
That's a good question. No, it is not. No, when we talk about breast milk, I don't know. I would say it's like it's gold. It adapts very well in various situations. Yeah. So for the breast milk for a mom with a premature baby, it adapts to knowing that this child requires more more in terms of the nutrients that this child requires, and that is the kind of breast milk that the mother will produce. So it will have in terms of nutrients, it will have more nutrients than that of a mother with a baby born of normal weight, born of at the right time or at the right age. So breast milk is really an interesting space, yeah, because even when the child is unwell, the breast milk
Mhm.
will have those specific antibodies to ensure that this child is, getting
That's
treated.
well. Mm, yeah.
So breast milk is interesting. Yeah.
Out of the blue, somebody is asking,
Yes.
how can maybe a husband or a male partner play a role in supporting these breastfeeding mothers? What is the role that they can play to help the mom feel that they are being supported?
Yeah. When it comes to partner support, there's a lot they can do. And I'm grateful to the institutions or the organizations that actually give paternity leave for them to come and actually support the breastfeeding moms. Um,
Mhm.
like we said, life will go on. So there are so many things that are happening in the home, and just relieving or just helping the mother with certain day-to-day things. It's not that the partner has to take up all of them, but just taking off that worry and stress of the day-to-day can really come in handy. So some of the things that they can actually do is be there in assisting in certain chores, the ones that they are able to. there is no specific role. The one that they are able to, and will actually just lift the weight of this mother. They can cook a meal for this mother. They can ensure that there's the provision of the necessary things that this mother requires to feed on, because when you're talking about a breastfeeding mom, they might require additional food to the normal food that we eat, because we eat like normally maybe about 3 meals in a day. So this
Yeah.
mother might require at least 2 extra meals and small 2 extra snacks. So
Mhm.
if they ensure that those foods are available, because probably they have someone helping in the home, depending on how the home is. Yeah. So maybe they have someone who is doing or taking care of the chores, or maybe there's a family member who has come on board to help. Maybe the partner will not be able to do it, but ensuring the provision of like those things, the extra snacks, um ensuring the provision of the extra meals that this mother might require will really come in handy. Another thing that they can do, they can even take some time and hold this child if the mother would like to. Sorry, hold this child if the mother would like to take some time and rest, because we said resting is really, really key when it comes to having adequate breast milk. So they can hold the child, go bond with this child as the mother rests for 30 minutes or 1 hour, or maybe as
Mm.
they try and express breast milk, or there's something maybe that the mother would like to do, which will
Mm.
really help this mom. If there is some expressed breast milk that the mother had left, this partner can even feed this baby. There's a lot that there's a lot that this partner can really do, and which will
Mm.
come in handy in showing support, and in helping this mother to have sustained breastfeeding, because once you see that there is support, it becomes very easy for this
Yeah.
mother to actually breastfeed. Yeah.
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 Well, it really takes a lot to need the. You said that there's no extra support, or there's not too much of the support.
No, there is never too much support. As much as you can support, just come and support these breastfeeding mothers. It really goes a long way, and it really, it helps this mother feel that I can do this. Yeah. They're not
Mm.
they're worrying about, oh, how will my children, all children are are equal to a parent. So you're not just thinking about this little one, you're thinking about the older one who requires to go to school. They're thinking about what they'll eat for dinner. They're thinking about, their assignment at work. So if there's one where you can help, it can really come a long way.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much, Joy, for being so helpful and for allowing us to learn with you today.
Yeah.
I see we are almost approaching our 8 p.m. time, and I don't see any active question for us. I'd like to really thank the people who joined us, and it is not a guarantee that you joined. We are really grateful that you are part of the team, and we want to keep on reminding us that our babies are precious, and our everything that we do for them should be for their own benefit. And our breast milk is the only thing that can sustain them for 6 months. And as Joy said, it is to improve their immunity. It is also for bonding, and just let your leave for paternity be specifically for your baby. Limit the stress, eat very nice. And other people say jahe is what brings milk. Other people say it's uji, and other people just do what you can as long as you have enough milk let down, and avoid stressing yourself. We want to thank our sponsors again, the NDA, the Capron, and the NAK for their support. And each and every year, let's keep reminding our mothers that they are special. Whenever you meet them, just allow them feel that they're special, and the responsibility that is ahead of them is the most important task, and the children depend on them. May you be blessed and have a nice night. Unless Joy want to say some closing remarks.
Well, yeah, thank you so much. Having me here is, as we talk about breastfeeding, and someone might wonder why the fuss about breastfeeding, but I believe after listening to all this, we know why the fuss. So, even as we continue to celebrate the World Breastfeeding Week, um, let us continue supporting our mothers, whichever role we have, let us play it. Whatever support that you require, to learn something, you can always, get the skill and support that mother. Let us also invest in ensuring or sustaining breastfeeding so that we can have, basically we're investing in the future. When we've looked at it, I think we have seen that. So
Yeah,
thank you so much for having me and for, giving me this platform to share that knowledge. Thank you so much.
you're welcome. Luisa Orina says the spouse can help massage the mom at the back to produce
Yes,
more breast milk. It's a feel
yes,
good hormone. You have to
yes,
feel it.
oxytocin reflex, yes.